I've seen so many Muslims reject really, really good people of good character for tiny things like height, or maybe they're not earning enough. And that's the reason why they're still single. Everyone should have expectations. That's totally okay. The trick, and the people who find their partner and are successful in their search for a Muslim spouse, is actually knowing which ones are the most important and actually which ones aren't. Remember, you're not looking just for a wedding day, you're looking for a lifetime together, and inshallah, a long, happy married life together. They're pretty much the three things that if you ensure that you're aligned on and find out about early, that will lead you guys to success. If you're looking for the superficial things of things like height and maybe looks, trust me, looks fade. Height doesn't fade, but you know, it's not that important. Remember, with things like what job, what profession someone has, nothing is guaranteed. Tomorrow they could be made redundant, and then that's where character comes in. Are they someone of strong character? Do they have an eagerness? Do they have a drive? Do they get demotivated really quickly? For some people, they lose a job and then it's knocked all of their confidence, and then they really struggle to get back into work, or even want to get back into work. And that's not what you want in your partner. Let's dig a little bit deeper. Why do so many Muslims have unrealistic expectations? Some of it is just wanting everything, right? I want the perfect guy. He's emotionally intelligent, he's on the deen, he's amazing looking, he's really tall, he's got an amazing job, and he earns loads of money, and he's got his own flat. And you can see this list is getting longer and longer. It either comes out of fear of loss, fear that you won't have that in your life, or also a fantasy of this ideal perfect life that you really want, that you think this person will unlock and provide. And there's a bit of a problem in both. Number one, on the fear side of things, remember, your risk, your living situation, everything about how you're going to live is ultimately determined by Allah. You want to make sure you're with someone, like I said, of good character, whereby you have the same values, you want a particular lifestyle together, and you want to both strive for that lifestyle together. And there's nothing wrong with that. And notice, someone's height is irrelevant when it comes to trying to plan for your akhirah. So many people are stuck on what they see on social media, and they want the same. They want the perfect husband who seems to be an amazing listener and always doting on his wife and is amazing with kids, etc. Remember, there's a reality of a situation, and these things are highly edited and unfortunately don't represent real life. They don't represent the times when the husband and wife are arguing, or the kids are driving someone crazy. And they're the things that people need to really be thinking about. I've seen this so often, and especially it's common with people where they lack self-confidence, or maybe something bad has happened to them recently, or they've been down on their luck, as they say, and they're in a bit of a tough spot. And it's almost like they're willing to just accept the fact that somebody will talk to them. And that's a bit of a problem, because you end up settling for something that maybe short-term feels great because you're getting some attention, but actually longer term you realize, what the hell have I just gotten myself in for? Where do high standards come from? Why do some people have all these amazing standards? Sometimes it sounds blunt, and you're looking at them thinking, well, you're not all that. Why are you demanding all this other stuff? And that's actually very valid. Number one, I would almost always say, if you're demanding something of someone else, try and also exhibit it yourself. Even Islamically, there are hadiths talking about marrying someone where there's compatibility in background. And why? Because ultimately, your lifestyle and the lifestyle you lead needs to be compatible with the lifestyle of someone else. So you've got to make sure that whatever you're asking for is actually relevant to you. And actually, you're equally probably able to offer it as well. And that also helps keep your own demands in check. What do you offer to someone? A lot of people enter the search for a Muslim partner, be it on apps or having rishta meetings and all this kind of stuff, with what do I get, right? What does this person bring to me? How are they going to make my life better? And actually, it's the opposite. To make yourself attractive to people, you want to have something to offer someone else, right? You want to improve your character. You want to improve, maybe it's the job that you have, right? You want to work at it and improve your job situation. And maybe on a religious level, you're not that religiously inclined, and that's an area that you want to grow in. Perfect. Work on yourself, because ultimately that's something that you're offering to someone else. So before you're constantly asking of all the things you want in a partner, actually self-reflect and figure out, well, what do I bring to a partner? It sounds weird to say, but you're almost much better at selling yourself when it comes to actually explaining and portraying to someone what you're actually all about and what's so great about you. Remember, one thing to bear in mind when it comes to all these expectations and demands that you might have, and when you're looking for someone, is disappointment. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having lots of demands and expectations. By the same token, be ready for disappointment. Be ready to meet lots of people who don't meet all those expectations, or who you think do meet all of these, and then we'll let you down. The problem with having too many demands and expectations is that you're setting yourself up for failure. And really it means that the person you're trying to get to know, or maybe has just been introduced to you, you're not willing to give them a chance, and you're just closing off options left, right, and center. And ultimately that will be to your detriment. So you might be thinking, okay, well, what on earth do I need to prioritize in my spouse or in the person I'm looking for? And look, the beauty of Islam, it's already written for us. There's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he said, look for, particularly a man towards his wife, look for 4 things. Look for her wealth, look for her lineage, look for her beauty, look for her religion. And what did he say? He said, the most important is religion. Of all of those things, what's the one thing that stands the test of time is her deen and her character and her faith. Because wealth diminishes, beauty diminishes, lineage is never certain. Probably in summary, one thing I would definitely suggest to people when it comes to figuring out what are the things that they're looking for in a partner is actually, and the most important is, how do you make sure that you're aligned as a couple, right? So the things that you're asking for, like I said, how do you make sure you can offer it? There's no point saying, I want a wife or a husband who's more religious than me, but you're not willing to put any effort to increase in your faith. People want someone with an amazing job, but they themselves have zero ambition, zero work ethic, and not really willing to meet someone at where they are. Because it's all good saying, I want X, Y, Z, but if you're not willing to put the work in for it, that will ultimately lead to disappointment. Disappointment in your own life, and also disappointment that unfortunately you'll end up sharing with your partner.